All right, guys, it is Monday, November 23rd, 2020. So if you've been following along the last couple of days, I am on the road to try to get my 55 two-door hardtop ready for an indoor car show in Tulsa. It's about mid-February 2021. It's Daryl Starboard's annual show. Anyway, I've always wanted to enter that car show with one of my cars. I just never have made it with one. But in particular, I wanted to enter the Fine 9 category. Now, I don't know if I'm going to make it in there. I don't know if the car will be good enough. It's just one of my redneck dreams, you know. So I'm going to go for it and give it a try. But anyway, I wanted to do this video just to basically, I tried something new, and for me being stuck in my ways and always doing the same thing over and over, I learned something, and I'm glad I did. So about 3/4 of this quarter panel, I would say, so far has been done with stage 2 polishing. I've still got to do stage 3, and then I'll do a carnauba wax, which I'm not going to do the carnauba wax till way later after the car's assembled. That'll be one of the final details, probably before it goes to the show. But I use 3M polishes, number 1 and then number 2, and then I have 3 over there. But so I have sanded the car all the way to 5,000 grit to remove all the texture, and then I went with number 1 compound on a regular buffer with a foam pad and buffed it all. And then after I was done with that, I wiped the car down with a wet microfiber rag, and that's to get all the debris and all the sling and all the crap off of it. Then I'll go back with the microfiber rag on the rough side, because these microfiber rags I use, they have a really soft side and then a not so soft side. They're still soft, but I use the not so soft side, fold it up into a square, and I put the number 1 compound on it, and then I fold it over and kind of rub it back and forth. And then I go one direction, full length, like that quarter I did one direction all the way down. Pretty firm pressure. And I kept going over it and over it and over it. And what that does is it gets rid of your holograms and your swirl marks that your regular buffer usually produces. Anyway, so at that point, what I normally do is wipe it off with a clean rag, microfiber rag. Then I switch to stage 2 on the buffer, and then I'll buff the whole thing. Then I'll go back and wash it with a wet microfiber to get all the crap off of it. And then I'll take another microfiber rag and fold it over into a square, put number 2 compound on it, one direction. Then I wipe it down with a wet rag, put all the stage 3 stuff on it, wipe it down, you know, do that. So this is, it just takes me forever to do it that way, but I get outstanding results with no holograms, no swirl marks. It is a lot of work, and it takes a lot of material, because by the time you use material on the pad, then you end up using it on the microfiber, it ends up, you know, being a pretty good expense in materials. Not only the time and the havoc it can do on your body, but anyway, so what I did today was, they come out with, if you don't know, they've come out with a new style polisher. This is called an orbital polisher. It has a DA action to it, dual action. Anyway, there's a popular brand out there, and I don't know how to say the name of it. It's Rupes, but I'm just going to call it the higher end one. They've been on the market for quite a while, and although I've always wanted one to try, I just haven't had the money to buy one. Those things are, I'm not 100%, but I think they're around $300. We'll just say they're around $300. They may be more, they may be less. But anyway, Harbor Freight had this one, this Bauer down there. I think it was $109. I bought this about a month ago, and it pretty much looks like the high-end one. It even has the little curved pad here like that. So I did buy it, and I brought it home, and I immediately watched some YouTube videos. There's a lot of YouTube videos on this particular machine. They do have a lower price one, a Bauer, but this is the $100 or $109, something like that one. This is the 1918 E as in Edward dash B as in boy, 1918 E dash B. It is variable speed. It does have a lock. You can lock the trigger if you wanted to. But anyway, what I did was I tried it today just in this area right here, and I did my number one compound on here after I'd sanded the quarter, and I could not really get the what I was after that way. I couldn't get it to work for the number one for me. It just wasn't quite getting it there like a regular buffer does. So I went ahead and plugged in my buffer and swapped the pad over to this one. I went ahead and compounded it with number one with this. Then I wiped it all down and I switched it to stage 2 and I put it on this. Actually, I rephrase it. I put the stage 2 on the buffer and I did an area right here. Because on this car right now, where it's at in here, I've got a curve here and I can see that light fixture reflection right there. And I had a little bit of a haze here. After I buffed it with the number 2 here, I still had a little bit of a haze there. I couldn't see real good that light. For a haze, foggy look. It was light, but I could still see it. So I went ahead and grabbed this and I put that pad over on this and I did this and the haze went away. It went to depth. So I got to say I am very impressed. Now the videos that I watched, which there's a ton on YouTube, there was a couple of them in particular. These guys have their own professional detailing shops. They do this stuff every day with them orbital polishers. Of course, not these, they're using the higher end ones. But these guys basically went and got one of these at Harbor Freight just to try it, to compare it, to see how it worked. And they both had the same thing about it. Their only complaint really was the vibration it creates in your hands. So, and they only know that because they have the high end one that doesn't vibrate that bad. So one of them in particular actually took it apart and cleaned all the grease out of it and replaced it with like a lithium style grease. And then he changed the head piece that bolts on here, the pad, with a 5-inch. And he showed his demonstration on a table, and it's way better for vibration, less vibration, which I'm not going to do that. So for me, I don't have the high end one to compare this to, so I don't know how terrible this is in vibration to compare it to. So for me, it's just fine. Now they did say, both of them said the same thing. For the hobbyist, like a guy that's going to polish his car over the weekend, and then maybe next weekend, polish his neighbor's car, they said that it was perfect. And I can tell you, for a price difference of a couple $100, this thing could literally beat the teeth out of my head. I wouldn't care. But I love it. I absolutely love it. This thing just saved me a ton of time and some money and materials, because I usually put it on a rag and go back one way. With this, you don't have to. It made this area of the car, just in stage 2, I've still got stage 3 to go, but it made that pop. Man, I love it. I absolutely love it. This car is going to look great, and I'm glad of that. It's not perfect. I've still got areas that the paint's still got a little bit of texture to it, like a peel here and there, but I'm good with it. I'm to the point where I don't care anymore. If I try to go for 100% perfection, I'll probably end up having to repaint the damn car again, so I'll end up going through. But for me, I love it. Now, there is a difference when you're using an orbital polisher and the way you use it compared to a regular buffer. So if you're going to run out and buy one of these, don't treat it like it's a buffer. These things you move a lot slower. These are way more forgiving on paint than a standard buffer. You would move about this fast in this spot, like a little section right here. And then once you get all the way to the top going that slow, then they would go up and down. So I can tell you, when I first tried this area, I just went side to side real slow, and I went ahead and wiped it with a clean fleece rag, and I noticed I still had a couple little foggy areas. It was really light fog, but I could see them looking at the light in the paint reflection. So I ended up going back over it again. Now, had I have went up and down after I went side to side, it would have probably taken it out. But for me, what I learned a long time ago using a regular buffer is anytime you turn that buffer, like if you buffed your car this way and then you turned it at any point and did that, you would notice you had a hologram line go up. So I learned a long time ago not to turn the buffer that way. But if you do have to turn the buffer because of an edge or an angle of something, doing the One Direction #1 compound on a rag or a microfiber applicator pad, One Direction, it'll eliminate that. It's kind of a good thing to know if you don't know. But I got to say, guys, for $100, that was money well spent. And I know a lot of guys that are subscribers to my channel. You're the DIY guy and are always on a budget as well. And you cannot go wrong with this. If you have a vehicle that has ruined paint from swirl marks and holograms, like if somebody's fried that paint job, this will repair it, I guarantee you. But anyway, I'm happy with it, and I just can't say nothing much better about it. But I'm happy for the money, man. It's just fine for me. But I guess I could just kind of run a little spot here just to kind of show you what it does when you do press the trigger. There are lots of videos you can watch, so if I can keep it from turning on me, it turned real easy. This pad's pretty wet still yet from me using it, but I mean, yeah, it vibrates, but it's just, to me, it's just like using any power tool, really. It's gonna vibrate, you know. I'm happy with it, man. I like it. I really like it. Because, you know, when you use a buffer on paint, you know, you spent all the time and body work and you spent the money on your paint, and then you get it on there, and then you got to sand it, and your whole time in the back of your head you're worried about sanding through a spot because you know you got to repaint after that. Then once you don't go through, the next thing you got in front of you is a buffer, which can screw up a paint job really quick. You can get on an edge, take it to primer just like that or sealer real quick. So that is the best ease of mind I've ever seen, is that right there. But anyway, guys, where am I at? There's a timer on front of it. 13 minutes. But anyway, I'm happy with it. Let's knock this thing down here and I'll give you an up closer. Thing's going to shake around quite a bit while I'm locking these down. It's on a tripod. But anyway, that's what it looks like up close. Now this is stage 2. I've still got to do stage 3, and stage 3 is the wow factor, man. It will make that paint gleam. And then Carnauba wax on top of that really, really makes it gleam. But anyway, I'm going to jump off here, and if you can read that, I would appreciate it. So